Okay, so let's start. Okay. Good morning, everyone. So haven't seen you for a long time. See you virtually. See your face, but I don't know when we can meet again. Probably my projected day is June 1st. How do you think? June 1st, probably we can meet each other. Let me share the screen. If you can see this.
Professor, I just have a question.
You can see this, right?
It's
No,
black.
not yet, Dr.
No,
Chen.
we don't see nothing.
Oh, we can see.
Now I can saw something.
The role of traditional Chinese medicine during COVID-19 pandemic.
No, we're not seeing that.
Not yet, sir.
Only black.
Black screen.
In black.
Black skin.
Okay.
Dr. Chung, you have to choose what screen or what window you're sharing with us.
Is this window? Okay, with window, share the screen. Okay.
Correct.
Double tap.
Okay, double tap. Okay,
There we go.
hold it.
Dr. Chen,
Yes.
me. I just called the Peizu
Yeah.
because the 100 people limit is there, so he cannot get in.
She cannot get in. Okay.
Yes.
Let me see. Okay.
It's possible to open the limited.
So.
Yeah,
so-
Professor, I only have 2 minutes later. I cannot get in.
Yeah, it's a limit for 100. So sorry. That's the,
You're right there next to somebody.
Professor, this is an online course. We can expand it to 200 people.
Oh, wow. That's a lot of people.
this is 100. I said 100. It's limited for 100.
Oh.
Crowds. No. Where's the meeting? Where's the meeting?
No, Professor, how do I know I'm in your meeting?
Oh, you have to just write your name in the chat.
In the chat. Yeah.
Yes, I already write in the chat.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
good. They
So
will
I'm
mark.
gonna probably just go back and take a look.
So
Whoever is here, please type your
Oh.
full
new
name on the
share,
right
new
side.
share. Okay, okay. Click and no, click and share. Can see this?
Yeah, we'll see it now.
Okay, yeah.
Yes, now we can see it.
Yes.
Okay, now you can see it. Good, good, good. Okay. So I don't know how I can invite the Peizu come in. So has a one student had to leave. Oh, sorry. That's the. So let me see. Zhang Yan, that's Zhang Yan.
Yes, I'm here.
Can you maybe contact the? Okay,
Peju?
Peizu, yeah, I have one student seems in the waiting room. Let me see, waiting room. Okay, one drop already, so
Okay,
automatic. So
I
ask her sign in, and then I can admit her. So that's what the problem. Sorry for the one student.
okay.
Automatically drop. So as a 99.
Dr. Chung, just so you know, for future reference,
Yes.
Zoom does have up to 500 people meetings available. You just have to add large meetings to your meeting, to your account.
So in the set up the meeting, can add more.
when you set up your account, if everyone could please quiet down so I can finish explaining to Dr. Chen, please.
Okay.
When you set up your account, Dr. Chen, in your account settings, you can upgrade.
Upgrade.
Yes, so you can have 500 people.
So, but not too late. Not
I
too
know,
late.
but maybe for next time, since we're stuck in this until June,
Yes, that is June.
we can always prepare and improve, right? Is all we can do.
Yes. Okay, so let me figure out. So ask Peizu sign in the waiting room, and anyone automatic drop, I can add her, bring into the meeting.
Okay.
So
Dr. Chen, do you have her phone number? I don't have her phone number.
WeChat.
Okay, let me add her then.
Okay. Okay, today we'll talk about, in my session, we talk about 3 issues. One is general introduction and history of Chinese medicine in epidemics, and also the Chinese medicine role for COVID-19 pandemic. That's the cover for this. So you see they have a Wawa Mu stats, and has a very good presentation. And starting January 20, and then up to April 5th. I only get April 5th, not recently. And you can see the clicking, the number is crazy adding, and then all the world change. So in January 20, the world is peaceful, it's calm, right? So the Wuhan started has some cases. So has 226 cases at that time. And then you can see, I only get a number, the data for April 5th. So all the world burn out. That's called a 肺炎, right? Yan, Chinese word, to fire. So this two fires is very strong, very up, and burn the world, the earth. So that's, if you get April 11, even worse. So that's the, I always say we are lucky. We never experienced any kind of war in my life. So this is a war. So that is all the situation. And this is the data this morning I screenshot from the update. So it's 1.7 million people in the world affected. The death toll going up to 100,000. So the US, so yesterday is about 470 or 490. So predict last night or today sometimes will exceed 500,000. So it's already 500,000. And 18,000 people lost their life. So that's terrible. It's very interesting. I just find some in China, the scholar called Li Zhibing, he analyzed, but has some data. Okay, has a data. I don't know. The data is very, evidence-based or whatever. He has some big data. So some similarities among Wuhan, Daegu, Milan, Tehran, and New York. So they are all the older city, has a higher density occupancy, and all humid and raining climate. So that's the, I think the last 2 weeks, the New York look like this. And the temperature is around 40 to 60 degrees Fahrenheit. A little bit cold, little bit wet.
那是你 try 我退出来，我退出来，
你退出来。
我退出来，好。
And also the city irrigating systems are old.
还有位置去嘛？对，你赶紧去。
Dr. Chen, you can mute everyone.
I can mute everyone, yes, but I usually can mute everyone, but now I'm on the screen. Mute myself, that's not right. Anyway, please be quiet, that's okay. And also higher percentage of senior citizens. I don't know is really true or not, but there's some analysis of those kind of factors. So look at New York. Yeah, New York. Its total has 26,000 tested. The total is 170. Yeah, total 170. So let me see. I will bring Peizhu. Okay, I only admit Peizhu. Good. Okay. And also you can see the
Actually,
it's very bad in the, it's just you can see the, so in New York State, it's about 170,000. It's all around Manhattan. So New York City, Long Island, and Westchester. So that's the area of the high incidence. You can see Manhattan 12,000 is unbelievable. The Nassau County of 21,000. Nassau County 21,000. That's unbelievable. And in Queens 29,000. So that's the current numbers. So I did some work. So try to see the curve, and it can be flattened, and also try to see the turning point. Unfortunately, until up to now, I cannot see it. You can see the daily confirmed cases is climbing. And Sunday it dropped, but they say not true because the Sunday lack of staff, so they didn't put on the data into the system. So that's why a significant drop. Seems so happy, but later it climbing. And so that's the up to yesterday. So that's the daily death cases. Daily death cases also climbing. 799 one day. So it's very bad, terrible situation. So according to the CDC, has the the symptoms, mostly they see the symptom appear 2 to 14 days after exposure. So that will be the fever, cough, shortness of breath. Yeah, fever, cough, shortness of breath. And also they have a suggestion what kind of situation you need to go to get a medical attention. So that's trouble breathing, persistent pain and pressure in the chest, and new confusion or inability to arouse. So very tired, and the bluish lips of face. So that's the the situation of the mostly fever, cough, shortness of breath. That's the major symptoms. In China, they also not only did the swab, the throat test, also did the chest X-ray. So a lot of people has the interstitial fibrosis. So this picture show the Chris Cuomo, the CNN, the anchorman, the Governor Cuomo's brother, and he shared with his chest X-rays, see all the information. And in some case, severe case, they say reported in China, the lung all white, so the spreading all the lungs white. So that's a terrible situation. And this the real data showed in in China when the outbreak, what the the frequency of the symptoms showed up is very light. Sorry. So I just say mostly here is the fever. Okay, this is fever, cough, tiredness, sputum, coughing with sputum, and a muscle ache, headache, and a dry cough, sore throat, and diarrhea, chest heaviness, and difficult in breathing. And this is the poor appetite. So poor appetite and difficult breathing, chest pressure, and sore throat, dry cough. So that's the seems significant. So they talk about under the Western medicine, describe the symptom. And in Chinese medicine describes similar, but you can see it's the fever, cough, tiredness. So the tiredness is taught when a Chinese medicine practitioner investigate the patient and get the information. So a lot of those kind of symptoms, maybe in Western medicine doctor, they not pay attention. So that's tiredness, muscle ache, and sore throat. And this is the headache and diarrhea. So a lot of patient not only has the respiratory symptoms and also has a lot of the digestive system symptoms. So that's they show the real. There are only a couple report the paper published. And this is the picture showed what the prognosis. So you get an infection and probably 50% symptom have no symptoms. And 50% they present a symptom. But those 50%, about the 20% will go to hospital. So among those, about 10% go to the hospital. So the other patient, they maybe they quarantine at home and then we recover in 10 to 14 days. So they say 80% with the patient has symptom will recover. Into the hospital, so they will maybe and under medical attention, but only among those, only 15% go to ICU. So the ICU, they still have a chance to leave ICU, 35% leave ICU. And in the hospital, they probably Pei still not here. So into the ICU, so about 65% they would die, and they say specifically they have an incubation or connect with a ventilator. Those people, only 15% to 20% they can survive. So majority of the patient, they connect to the ventilator, they will die. So that's the situation. So I think this week is a peak of the worst week, and a lot of people die. So that's but the new admitted patient could be less. So among those, the people they die, they see in New York City, a lot of, so this is Hispanic, Black, and white, Asian. So it seems the Asian has a lower percentage of fatality. And New York State, exclude New York City. So majority is white people, and 14 Hispanic and 18 Black people. So that's the, but other reports show the African American population is seems a high percentage of fatality rate. The age, so most people they die, so it's around 50 to 59 in a male. So 50 to 59. That's the data from New York State Department of Health. Every Thursday afternoon, 1 p.m., they have a briefing and a webinar, so it has updated information. So this is very important. Consider, but it's too too small. I would say top 10 comorbidities by age group. So that means the people they are infected and coronavirus positive, but they also have other chronic disease. So among those people they die, the chronic disease include hypertension. Okay, that's a very tiny, so I cannot enlarge. Maybe break two. So, but anyway, hypertension, diabetes, lipoprotein, coronary artery disease, renal disease, dementia, COPD, cancer, atrial fibrillation, and a congested heart failure. So those, you can see a lot of people diabetes, a lot of people hypertension. So that's the high risk, and the hyperlipoprotein, so high cholesterol. So that's high cholesterol, high blood pressure, and high blood sugar. Those people is the big percentage among those people died because of COVID-19. So the mostly the common, FDA already declared has no effective, no clinical data can support any drugs is effective to treat the COVID-19. But now is the common treatment, and the combination with the hydrochloroquine. That's the medication used for malaria, and azithromycin. So that's antibiotics and zinc sulfate. So they say those combination has the better result. So started from French, they had a small number of the clinical trial, but now mostly used it. Later I can show you the Northwell, the protocol also used a hydrochloroquine. When a severe case, they will do incubation and the ventilator. It's a good news. Yesterday, the Governor Cuomo said they expected a lot of people use the ventilator, but now the number dropped because the new people less, and a lot of people already died. So that's the number. Every day have a 700, 600, so almost 800 of people died. So they now use the ventilator. So it's not as before estimated, need 30,000 ventilators. So he said this situation got relieved. So this is the protocol from the Northwell Health. So that's the which kind of situation can will admit, which cannot admit, and then what the procedures. So that's the Northwell. Later I can post my PowerPoint to everyone so you can look at it. I don't want to spend time for this. This is hydrochloroquine use. So the protocol just started April 5th. So before I think most the treatment are the supportive care. So that's the situation. It's very important and I find I see why, and then I figure out. This is the protocol from the Northwell. This is the picture I added. Because they say the people hospitalized patient, non-ICU patient or ICU patient, how to care about the VTE prophylax. So VTE is a venous thromboembolism. That's the means the clots in the vessel system, venous thromboembolism. Prophylax is prevention. Try to prevent venous thromboembolics. Because this is the situation in when the outbreak in China, in Wuhan, always say some people walk and suddenly fell on the street and passed away. This is what you call a DIC. So this is disseminated intravenous coagulation. So disseminated whole body, whole the venous system, and the intravenous coagulation. So that's why suddenly happened. And then the people just walk or whatever, suddenly just fell and then passed away. So it's a very important thing to prevent people dying. So they have the protocol, not only to treat the situation of COVID-19, also very important to prevent the blood clotting in the venous system, to prevent those sudden deaths. So that's, I think, is in Chinese medicine considered what blood stasis, right? That's the blood stasis. That's why a lot of a lot of people shocked. A lot of people, they walk on the street and suddenly they just had a DIC. So that's the situation of DIC. So they are aware of this and then they provide a treatment. So different medication according to the body, the basic body metabolic index. Okay, so that's for the Western medicine. So the situation about the COVID-19. So I will introduce what the history of Chinese medicine. Actually, they find each dynasty for over 3,000 years. And each dynasty always has a different kind of the epidemics or pandemics. And so it's very serious. You can see the Chinese letter for this is the E. What's the E? The mean. See, all the disease has the same side. So the Chinese character seems to this like a bed, disease bed. So lie on the bed, so you're sick. So that's the E. What's the meaning of the E? It's a Ming Jie Ji. The people all get a disease. So that's the E is a very widespread outbreak. And that's also, they use the word Li. And it is a malignant disease. So inside like a crab. So that's the very not good stuff. And this is one E is usually combination. The one is the same as the E. So the one, so people isolated is the window. So isolate himself and have to take the medication, the herb decoction. So that's the one E, Li Yi. So that's the words in Chinese character. Earliest, you can go back to in the class of Yellow Emperor. They talk about a lot of things with the pestilences, just those kind of disease and outbreak. And so already recorded and in the Neijing already. But this chapter is, we always say very important, all the Chinese medicine practitioners, they knows. 正气沉内，邪不可干. So when the vital qi exists inside, in the interior, the pathogenic factor won't disturb. Couldn't, so sorry, not disturb. Okay, there's a typo here. But anyway, this I don't think is in the earliest of the Han Dynasty, because this is the chapter 72, late added. So one suspect who added, that's in the Tang Dynasty. So it's the around the 1000, yeah, after century. So that's is a late. But anyway, this word is very important. They always say the vital qi exists in the interior and the pathogenic factors won't disturb. So, but the sentence is in the chapter, in the paragraph, they talk about those kind of epidemic and how to avoid those toxic qi. So it's very important. To build up the vital qi is very important. The treatise on cold damage disease. So that's the also talk about the infection disease, and those the starting with the theory mainly concern is related to coldness. That's why the Sang Han. So the author Zhang Zongjing himself, he wrote, "My family has many relatives, about over 200, but about 2/3 passed away less than 10 years. Among those, 7 out of 10 died because of cold damage disease." So the history showed during his time, is a pandemic happened in 217 BC. So Jian'an, so they say that in Jian'an time period, have 7 scholars, and 4 of them died because of the pandemic. So that's so starting that in Neijing, they mentioned about the situation in universe, how change, and then what will affect the people, but they declare the vital qi is the most important part. And Zhang Zongjing, and starting with differentiation, 6-channel differentiation, so everybody familiar with this, but the reason he wrote that book, because a lot of people died, and also during his time has a big pandemic. I think they say during the Jian'an the time, the Jian emperor's time, the population cut down to 3/4 died, only 1/4 survived. So that's the and another big pandemic around the 1642. That's the end of the Ming Dynasty. So one doctor called Wu Ke, and he wrote a book, Wen Yi Ren, the treatise on pestilence, Wu Ke. And he find out the people, the mainly problem is not related to cold. It's not a seasonal situation, right? The seasonal situation, I always said, the pathogenic factor, cold, wind, summer heat, or dampness. So either they are too strong, they happen too sudden, or they last a too long time, or unseasonal situation. So the people getting sick. And that's the seasonal situation. But he said, supposed to be a pestilent qi, a strange qi between the heaven and the earth, is another situation, another factor. So it's considered as the warm pathogen. So that's why he's starting with the warm pathogen theories. And so that is totally different with cold damaged problem. And a couple years ago, they made a movie for him, and it's called Fall of the Ming, Ming Dynasty, 大明节. You can go online to take, I think 2 years ago or 3 years ago, the Student Governing Association already on a Saturday night, they played this, they all see this. So you see, say that no family survived among hundreds family in one lane. No one survived among hundreds of individuals in a dorm. So that's really serious at that time. It's unique of the theory they mentioned in that book. Actually, before the middle of the 17th century, the bacteria was discovered. So they mentioned have certain kind of factor. This is not related to seasonal factor. And also they talk about immunity. And they also talk about those kind of things, they could attack animal, to cow, to lamb, to chicken, to duck. And they could happen with the people also. And so it's a description with his observation. So starting from that, the epidemic febrile disease, they use the set of differentiation as the, what I say, is the warm pathogen. It's not cold related. So in Qing Dynasty, so 1792, so very late, also on the repeat of many epidemic fever disease happened. So he started with a 4-level differentiation, 胃气营血, defensive qi nutrient the blood. So that's the another set. And a little bit later, Wu Jitong, based on his theory, and he wrote a book and systematized identification of the warm pathogen disease. So he created Sanjiao differentiation and 3 burners, and also the treatment for the wingworm, warm toxic, summer warm, damp warm, all those kind of warm pathogen disease. So that's also related to epidemic febrile disease. So for general febrile disease, 6-channel differentiation, and for the epidemic febrile disease, usually use Sanjiao differentiation, 4-level differentiations. So Chinese medicine has, so in that book has a lots of formula they're using. And from the Wilk, Ye Tianshi, Wu Jitong, they all has a lot of effective formulas. I just want to share some information with you. Probably someone went to Manhattan last year, the Museum of Chinese American. Last year had the scene of the Chinese medicine. But unfortunately, the museum burned out. When I was in China in January 18 or 19, it burned. But 75% of the collection still survived. So that's lucky. But anyway, they gathered one section of that's the show exhibition. They have a Kanhua Chang, Jinhua Chang, yeah, Kanhua Chang heritage site. This is the national park now. In the distant place in Oregon called Jiangdai. Jiangdai is a name of a city. They have a herbal store, all the herbs herbal store between 1887 to 1948. So it's the help a lot of people during the Spanish flu epidemic in 1919. So a lot of people, not only, because this is kind of community of Chinatown. I don't know, is amazed. So the Chinatown in San Francisco, Los Angeles, and also in Washington State and Oregon, the Portland, and even had to drive for 5, 6, or 7 hours to Poland, in the very inland, called Jiangdai, they say, as the center of the big Chinese community. So he practiced Chinese herbs, and actually you can see the Oregon Encyclopedia, and they honor him, Dr. Ying He. Dr. He utilized Chinese herbs to treat a lot of Spanish flu patients. And then when he treated those patients, none of them died. So that's also at that time, very interesting. You can go online to check a lot of lawsuits because people claim he is a practice without a license, no medical license. So the court dismissed this for a couple of times. All the people testimony is so great, but now you cannot practice without license. So that's you can see the history tried to using. So this year, so I think starting with January 20, I think starting with the end of December 2019, and the big outbreak starting January 20 and also 23rd, the Wuhan lockdown. So Wuhan lockdown, and so I left China, that's the Chinese New Year, so that's January 25th. That's the first time I quarantined myself for 14 days. Now the second time, quarantined myself in the house, so almost 3 weeks, so that's terrible. But they say over 70,000 in Wuhan or 60,000, I can't remember. And they had a field hospital. The field hospital means those people, the light case is not so severe. They don't need to do the intubation and connect to ventilator. So, but they are positive. They are positive. So all those people are like a stadium. You can see there's a stadium. They become the hospital. So the report is reported there's a lot of Chinese medicine practitioners went there and provided a good care of them. So you see the picture can show them, check the pulse. They provided herbs and herbal pasting in the back and the ear points. You see the ear points, and also they do the Tai Chi. It's not Tai Chi, some kind of exercise. But they mentioned that they used 八段锦, 8 pieces of the exercise. That's the traditional the exercise methods. So how it works, and I haven't seen any other report. Just 2 days ago, a couple of days ago, I found it in British Medical Journal, and they published the article, the guideline-based Chinese herbal medicine treatment plus standard care for severe coronavirus disease, evidence from China. So they integrated Western standard of care and with Chinese medicine. So, but they have a control study. The control study, this seems the Chinese herb medicine plus standard care. This is standard care only. So you can see the significant difference from severe to moderate. You can see the yellow, the orange is severe to mild. This is severe to moderate. This is severe, right? This severe to discharge. This is what the color. So anyway, So most significance is Chinese herb plus standard care has better results than the standard care only. With those patients, the severe case go to the moderate, the relief, and not going to death. So that's the only, so far I see the clinical data and published. So that's the good news. So since a lot of people, they are frontline, and those TCM practitioners, they might see the different group people. So they always has dispute, argue of this the main pathogenesis. So one group says is a cold damp pestilence, and one group says damp toxic pestilence. So this time the outbreak a little bit with the different with the other situation. The ancient time they always would consider cold, and later can consider warm pathogen. And this, whatever they argue, the debate is a cold damp or damp toxic. They all have a damp. So that's very unique, interesting. And also, according to their observation, and they find those people, many of them had deficiency. So the damp deficiency are two major keys. And they consider is the pathogenesis is damp toxic stagnation in the lung and the spring. So this is the basic. Of course, people later get a severe, get a fever, all pathogen can accumulate with the heat, right? So it's the damp toxic is considered, it's very important, the understanding in Chinese medicine, because it's helped us to establish the treatment principle. So there are two real patient pictures, tongue pictures. And this one contributed with Dr. Zhang Yan. I asked her, she mentioned something. So last night I said, would you please give me a picture and share? And so she sent me right away. And this is puffy, you see, the tongue is puffy. And this is a lady around the 60s and has a fever, So this both has the puffiness, you see, that's considered as the spring deficiency. And also they have a dampness, but more related to the heat. This is the white, yeah. So I have only limited information. So I was stay in the house. So they probably, some patient, they talk to me, and but they not confirmed yet. This one's confirmed. This lady confirmed. And according to Dr. Zhang Yan's information, this also is confirmed positive. So there are lots of formulas, and you can see that's the popular formulas now have granules. So one is called 金花清感颗粒, the granules. Has lots of herbs, 12 herbs, but mainly they have a ma huang. Probably that's a kind of problem in the United States. FDA doesn't ban for raw herb ma huang for practitioners. They ban the extracted ephedrine to use for enhanced performance. But it's when they import, I think it has a very critical, some kind of bar, so no one will make a trouble, so it's harder to get them out. This is the first herb or any herbal book from the ancient time to now. If you turn to the herbal book, the 本草, every book, first page is ma huang, but you cannot use. 莲花清瘟胶囊. So this seems more popular. Okay, they use a lot. The detail, that's why I asked the experts. Dr. Pei Zhuchen will introduce later. So I just gave you some kind of information. Also, 制麻黄. So this is the honey roasted effigy ma huang. Also has a ma huang. And really, it's for some people had disease, and they probably have the 3 decoction, the formulas. So lung cleansing and detoxifying decoction. So also has a ma huang, right? Also has a ma huang. And also has a xixing. Xixing has a leaf, xixing has a root. I think the most leaf has the astoric acid, is banned by FDA. In our school, they show the report. It doesn't contain asterics, the acid. So in our school, still have a xixing, but I believe it will be the xixing root, not a xixing leaf. 化湿败毒汤 resolve the dampness and cleansing the toxic. Also has ma huang. Dispersing lung and cleansing the toxic formula also. Yeah. The ma huang have it everywhere. So, but we miss the ma huang as a problem. And also they have a preventive herbal formula. So Formula 1. So mostly they use the 玉屏风散, jade screen powder. So they protect the lung qi. 黄芪, 白术, 防风, those 3 herbs, that's the classical formula of the jade screen powder, 玉屏风散. And some add 金银花藿香甘草. 藿香 is mostly for dealing with dampness. This is 贯众, 金银花佩兰陈皮. So that's the 2 different forms. It's very interesting. Before the New York State has the outbreak, already the herbs has the in the market already gone. And whatever the raw herbs or the powders and all the herbs relate to clear heat and the toxic heat, those herbs are gone. So big demanding of the Chinese herbs. So Reuters, New York Post all report of the situation. And I show you that one picture very interesting. That's the coronavirus prevention tea issue in Canada. So in Canada, in the central Canada, Burnick, or Winnipeg. And Dr. Wang, actually I met him before. And he made a herbal tea, but he said, 散寒, resolve coldness, resolve dampness, and for prevention of COVID-19. So he got a warning, and from the government, you cannot say that. Actually, I heard FDA already issued a couple of warning letters for some people, and you cannot label, say, these herbs can prevent or treat COVID-19. Even the Western medicine is just, they said it's no clinical data can show, but they are using, but you cannot name it. So the better to use the word this formula can support for the lung health or respiratory health. So that's the it's not legal in the United States, and Canada says coronavirus prevention tea. So we cannot use this kind of name. Anyway. Acupuncture. You see that I found some people, but I didn't see the medical journal, the papers, article, the clinical trial report. I just had a news report. Okay, so news report and the academic paper report are different. but I can see they are using acupuncture to treat those patients in the field hospital. And specifically combine those 3 points. What they do, they say when the patient use the ventilator, they try to not use a ventilator and using kidney 3, okay, and the spring meridian called the metabolism point, and so it's about 8 Chen above, so close the liver 5, close liver 5, but they say it should be the true spring 6. So that's the has no common consensus. So, but anyway, they use this point, spring point, and also use a point very close to PC3. So PC3 5 Chen, right? This is the 4 Chen, top 1/3. This the in the pericardium channel, that's a 12 Chen. So top 1/3. So that's the 4 Chen. So stop panting point. So use this to help for the pulmonary and heart function. And according to the news report, say this patient didn't use, later they didn't use the ventilator. So that's amazing. And also said after needling on kidney 3, and the patient had a very strong feeling of in the chest. Very good situation. But I wish can see more scientific clinical trial paper in published. Yeah, I don't know what time now, but I'm done. So thank you very much. I try to stop and show and oh, 10:59. Great. I'm a very punctuated. So I don't think I have a time to. So can you see this?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Good.
Yes.